Have you ever thought to yourself, man, white people really out here wildin', just out here doing Well, this is A Black Person Could Never, the privilege of financial crime. Every week, we dive deep into the world of high-profile white-collar crime, financial schemes, and elite corruption. We'll get into details, the psychology behind the crimes, and the impact they have on communities. But we're also going to keep it real. No sugarcoating here, to expose the stunning racial and systemic disparities in financial justice. We break down the biggest scandals, from Ponzi schemes to market manipulation, to show you the true cost of privilege in the justice system. Before we get started, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and follow me on your favorite platform. Now, let's get into this week's crime. Imagine walking into a $77 million townhouse on the Upper East Side. The walls are covered in photos of the world's most powerful people, popes, presidents, princes, all smiling alongside a man with no degree, no clear source of income, and a penchant for taxidermy. In the foyer, there's a stuffed tiger. In the library, a stuffed baby elephant. And reportedly, in the lobby, a realistic, life-size doll of a dead woman hanging from a noose. This wasn't a horror movie set. This was the home of Jeffrey Epstein. For 3 decades, Epstein lived a life that shouldn't have been possible. He was a Brooklyn math teacher who bluffed his way onto Wall Street, a social climber who turned a private Caribbean island into a high-tech fortress of abuse, and a man who supposedly held enough blackmail on the global elite to crash the entire system. But on August 10th, 2019, the man who knew too much was found dead in a cell where the cameras didn't work and the guards were asleep. He took his secrets to the grave. Or did he? Today, we aren't just looking at the crimes. We're looking at the architecture of a monster. We're diving into the broken bones that suggest murder, the 1,500 names in a secret black book, and the terrifying truth about why, in a world of total surveillance, the most dangerous man in America was allowed to disappear in total darkness. This is episode 4. Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire playground of sex, secrets, and death. Strap in, because the truth is much uglier than the headlines. To double the length and juice of this script, we need to dive into the specific mechanics of his rise, the names of the recruitment staff, the specific financial oddities, and the haunting details of his properties. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't born with a silver spoon. He was born with a silver tongue. Growing up in Seagate, a private community in Brooklyn, he was the son of a park groundskeeper. At Lafayette High School, he was a math whiz, finishing 2 years early. But his classmates didn't remember a nerd. They remembered a guy who was already performing. He was a piano player, a charmer, and a man who seemed to be playing a character, even as a teenager. He had this unsettling ability to mirror the person he was talking to, a classic trait of a high-functioning sociopath. He bluffed his way into a teaching job at the prestigious Dalton School in Manhattan, despite having no degree. This is the first juicy pivot. The headmaster there was Donald Barr, father of future Attorney General William Barr. It was at Dalton where he met the children of the elite, including Bear Stearns, Chairman Alan Ace Greenberg. Epstein didn't just teach math. He groomed the parents. He convinced them he was a financial genius, and soon enough, he was on a trading floor at Bear Stearns. Within a few years, he was a limited partner, but he was eventually fired for a minor rules violation involving an unregistered seed of an offshore entity. That wasn't a setback for Epstein. It was his graduation into the world of shadow finance. Psychologically, Epstein was obsessed with transhumanism and eugenics. He reportedly had a plan to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating dozens of women at his New Mexico ranch. He viewed himself as an apex predator, a Darwinian king who was above the morality of ordinary people. He didn't just want money, he wanted to be the puppet master of the human gene pool. When you understand that he saw people as cattle, his crimes start to make a twisted kind of sense. The violence Epstein inflicted wasn't always with a fist, it was the violence of absolute ownership. He built a Lolita League, a terrifyingly efficient recruitment machine led by figures like Ghislaine Maxwell. They targeted girls as young as 14, often from broken homes or lower income backgrounds, promising them massage training or modeling careers. Once they were at his $77 million Manhattan mansion or his private island, Little St. James, the trap snapped shut. The island was nicknamed Paedophile Island by locals, and for good reason. It was equipped with a bizarre gold-domed temple that looked like something out of a cult film, and the girls there were subjected to systematic daily abuse. He recorded everything. This is the juicy part. Hidden cameras were reportedly found in almost every room of his properties. Epstein wasn't just a predator, he was an intelligence gatherer. He allegedly used these recordings to blackmail his high-profile guests, ensuring that if he went down, he'd take the world's power structure with him. This brings us to the morning of August 10th, 2019. Epstein was in the SHU, Special Housing Unit, at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. He had already survived one suicide attempt weeks prior, yet he was taken off suicide watch. On the night he died, his cellmate was transferred out. The two guards on duty, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, didn't check on him for hours because they were reportedly shopping for furniture online and sleeping. The cameras in the hallway malfunctioned. The autopsy showed multiple breaks in his hyoid bone, an injury more consistent with strangulation than hanging. Whether he was a victim of his own hand or a state-sponsored hit, his death ensured that his black book of secrets stayed closed during his trial. If you look at the official record, Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide. But if you look at the circumstances, it feels more like a script from a spy thriller. Attorney General William Barr called it a perfect storm of screw-ups. But for a man who held the secrets of the world's most powerful people, a perfect storm is exactly what you'd need to ensure he never made it to the witness stand. Let's get into the forensics, because this is where the official narrative starts to crack. Dr. Michael Baden, a world-renowned forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's brother, observed the autopsy and came away with a chilling conclusion. This looked more like a homicide. Epstein had multiple fractures in his neck, specifically his thyroid cartilage and his hyoid bone. Now, why does that matter? While the hyoid can break in a hanging, it is significantly more common in cases of manual strangulation. Dr. Biden noted that in over 1,000 jail suicides he's examined, he had never seen 3 neck fractures like that in a hanging. For a 66-year-old man to break his neck in 3 places by kneeling forward from a bunk bed, which is how he was reportedly found, defies the laws of physics for many experts. The ligature mark on his neck was also dead center, rather than riding up toward the jawline, which is where a noose typically settles during a hanging. Then there's the jailhouse logistics. The Metropolitan Correctional Center was one of the most secure facilities in America. Yet, on the night of August 10th, the security theater fell apart. The guards. The 2 guards assigned to Epstein's unit, Tova Noel and Michael Thomas, were reportedly working extreme overtime. They didn't just miss a check. They allegedly fell asleep for 3 hours and then falsified the logs to say they'd been doing their rounds. Just one day before his death, Epstein's cellmate was transferred out, leaving the most high-profile prisoner in the country, who was supposedly on suicide watch just weeks prior, completely alone. In a twist that launched 1,000 memes, the two cameras directly in front of Epstein's cell malfunctioned that night. While the FBI later claimed they found unusable footage from a different angle that showed no one entered the tier, the lack of direct visual evidence in a federal facility is a coincidence that many find impossible to swallow. The juiciest theory isn't just that he was killed, but why? There is a persistent narrative that Epstein was an intelligence asset, possibly for the Mossad or the CIA, running a honey trap operation to compromise world leaders. Former U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta reportedly told Trump transition officials that he was told to back off Epstein's 2008 case because he belonged to intelligence. If Epstein was a bridge between intelligence agencies and the elite, his arrest wasn't just a legal problem, it was a national security breach. A living Epstein could testify about the hidden cameras found in his homes, the Black Book of Names, and the leverage he held over everyone, from royalty to tech moguls. In this world, a dead man tells no tales, but a dead man also protects the reputations of those still in power. Finally, consider the note found in his cell. It wasn't a typical suicide note. It was a complaint about the jail conditions, specifically about a guard giving him burnt food and another locking him in a shower. Does that sound like a man who has made peace with his end, or a man who was planning to fight his case the next morning? Whether you believe the official ruling or the street's verdict, the timing of his death remains the greatest betrayal of justice in modern history. It ensured that while Epstein was gone, the network he built remained in the shadows. The betrayal in the Epstein case isn't just about a failure of the courts. It's about a ledger of names that reads like a who's who of the global power structure. When investigators searched Epstein's Manhattan mansion, they found what has become the most feared document in the world, his Little Black Book. This wasn't just a contact list. It was a map of 1,500 people who occupied the highest seats of government, science, and entertainment. This is where the cover-up stops being a theory and starts being a paper trail. Let's get into the names, because the details are staggering. We aren't just talking about casual acquaintances. None of these men were ever charged. The system didn't just break, it worked exactly as it was designed to, for the top 1%. Let's be real for a second. We call this segment A Black Person Could Never because it highlights the absurdity of white-collar immunity. Could you imagine a black man from Brooklyn with no college degree being caught running an international ring of underage girls and then getting a work release deal from a U.S. attorney? A black man wouldn't have made it past the first unregistered seed at Bear Stearns without a frisk and a felony. If a black man had a gold-domed temple on a private island and was flying world leaders around on a private jet, the FBI would have had that island under 24/7 satellite surveillance before the first plane landed. The privilege Epstein had wasn't just money. It was the presumption of innocence and the benefit of the doubt. The system allows a man like Epstein to be eccentric, while a black man is labeled dangerous. Epstein could be intellectual, while a black man is suspicious. This case proves that in America, if you have the right skin tone and the right bank account, the law isn't a wall, it's a revolving door. Let's sit with that for a second. In our world, Epstein was a ghost. He was the man who wasn't there even when he was standing right in front of you. But let's flip the frequency. Let's look at how the black verse handles a predator when the system isn't busy being his accomplice. In the black verse, we don't have an old boy network, we have a community guard. Back in 1974, when Jeffrey walks into the Dalton school, he doesn't get a pass because he's bright or charming. In a world without institutional bias, the administration doesn't see a young genius. They see a man without a degree applying for a job he's not qualified for. Because there's no racial hierarchy to blind them, the red flags aren't ignored as eccentricities. He's flagged by the board, escorted out within 48 hours, and barred from the profession. The system works because it values the safety of the child more than the social status of the teacher. But let's say he's a shapeshifter. Let's say he still manages to claw his way into a fortune. In the black verse, the banking system isn't a dark room. It's a glass house. There are no shadow offshore entities or unregistered seeds. Every dollar moved at a place like Bear Stearns is tracked on a public integrity ledger. When he tries to siphon millions from a Leslie Wexner or a Leon Black, the Nexus alarms go off in real time. In this reality, you don't get to be a mysterious billionaire. Your wealth has to have a receipt, a source, and a soul. And here's where it gets beautiful. In our world, Epstein's $170 million fortune was fought over by lawyers, while victims had to beg for scraps. But in the black verse, we have the DGR. The moment the crime is proven, that wealth is immediately reclassified as restorative capital. It's not lost to the state, it's returned to the people. That $170 million is used to break ground on Sanctuary K. We're taking that private island, that site of trauma, and we're scrubbing the energy. We're building a world-class healing center. We're talking about trauma-informed architecture, ancestral saltwater therapies, and a university for survivors to reclaim their education and their power. 4. The shield, not the cloak. See, in the black verse, the law isn't a cloak that the monsters use to hide their shame. It's a shield for the vulnerable. It's a system that says, we see your history, we see your lineage, and we will never allow a man with a silver tongue to use your struggle as his playground. It's a world where the outcome isn't decided by who you know, but by how you treat the least of us. Justice isn't just served, it's grown. And honey, it looks good on us. We've looked at the darkness, but the lesson here isn't to be defeated, it's to be strategic. Epstein used his math skills and his understanding of psychology to build a network. Imagine if that level of networking was used to build Black-owned tech hubs or to fund medical research for our communities. We have people doing this right now without the sociopathy. Look at Bozoma St. John, who mastered the art of corporate storytelling and influence. Look at Dr. Kismakaya Corbett, who used her mathematical and scientific brilliance to lead the team that developed the COVID-19 vaccine. These are the real masters of the strategic mind. They navigated elite spaces, not to exploit them, but to change them. The takeaway is this: you don't need a Lolita Express to have a global impact. You need the ambition to enter the room, the intelligence to master the rules, and the integrity to never sell your soul once you get there. Epstein died in a cage, hated by the world. True power is building a legacy that people actually want to remember. Knowledge is power, family, and it's time you stopped playing a supporting role in someone else's game. We've decoded the rules. Now it's time to rewrite them. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building an empire on strategy and cold, hard truth, come see us at All Things Positive Financial Consulting. We don't do magic boxes, but honey, the results are pure magic. Stop waiting for a seat at the table and build your own. Sign up for Black Wealth Energy today. Call to act. Remember, knowledge is power. By understanding the system, we can work to change it. Stay tuned for more on how to build wealth and overcome obstacles. If you've been inspired by this story and want to learn how to build your own wealth, I encourage you to check out All Things Positive Financial Consulting. We offer a range of services, including one-on-one coaching and corporate contracts. We also have a program called Black Wealth Energy, specifically designed to help people of color overcome systemic barriers and achieve financial success. As an AFC and licensed master social worker, I'm passionate about helping people build wealth and achieve their financial goals. I'm also a financial therapist, so I understand the emotional and psychological aspects of money. I invite you to join our community and learn how to create a brighter financial future for yourself.